videos of the internet that we will be sharing and talking about. They're pretty exciting, so let's go.
Welcome to the Gentleman Cave podcast. Like, share, and subscribe.
My situation, and I think that I'm not high function.
What situation?
Okay, so I'm not married. I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
By how many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more.
By multiple women? What's the intent? Provide your wife.
I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you would say it, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I said has nothing to do with them babies. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy.
Welcome to the Gentleman Cave podcast. Like, share, and subscribe.
It's got a lot though. It's really got a lot. Should I start first with you, Felicia? What do you think about this? And by the way, that guy is a celebrity. I think he's used to be an NFL player, I want to believe. Cam Newton, and she's a doctor. Maybe a counselor or whatever, marriage counselor or therapist. I really don't know, but the video caught my attention.
Yes. She couldn't have said it any better. She actually hit the nail on the head. So, yeah, she's indeed a doctor, because whatever it is that she just said is what I would say to anybody. Yeah, see, the problem we have these days is the fact that we have children or people who are actually kids from parents, right, that are dysfunctional. And when you really look deep into it, you discover that this dysfunctionality is as a result of broken homes, dysfunctional homes. And unfortunately, many people out there have this mindset that this guy has. So that's why the society, I used to say it, I say it all the time, it's rotten. It's degraded. And I don't, now that's what I'm saying. So it's just a spiral effect. Somebody coming from a broken home, the person just takes it to the next person, the next, not wanting to break that cycle, saying, oh, I came from a broken home, let me change it. They just carry that mindset of, okay, after all, I grew up in this situation, I'm used to it. So why would I, if my parents or my dad didn't do it, my mom didn't do it, why should I do it? So I just want to be like them. And I mean, we all know that kids learn from their parents. We are their role model.
Agreed.
Right. So this is the effect. And like I said, there's so many people with his mindset, and that's what is training our society today.
The fact that he said he has eight kids, 8 children from 3 different baby mamas.
That's
it's
that's a serial baby daddy.
And he's not the first anyways.
And
neither is it the last.
It's not gonna be. That's what I'm saying. It's unfortunate. It's not gonna be the last. This fact is gonna have a lot of people. And sometimes when I try to listen to certain men, they kind of tell you, "Oh, men are polygamous in nature, so you cannot put us in a box. You can trace back to our forefathers, blah blah blah." Some people even bring Christianity into it and give us the example of Solomon. Oh, you see how Solomon was the wisest man ever lived. He had 1,000 women. So they liken themselves to Solomon. I'm like, listen, are we just taking the negativity? Why did we take the positive? Because at the end of the day, I used to say, if you want to use that as an example, why don't you go by the final years of Solomon, where he said, vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. So this is a man, if you kind of say you want to embrace his lifestyle, fine. He was, the movement, life, riches. But if he was telling you that it's vanity, you can imagine what he's saying. So people tend to put that away and try to just say, oh, I want to be like. But hey, like I said, we are actually breeding an unfortunate generation. I use that word. I'm not sorry. Because see, like she rightly said, the doctor, did you hear what he said? He said he wants more kids. And she rightly asked him, she said, by another woman or the same women? I don't know, I forgot what he said, but I'm sure it's not going to be.
He said something like, as God permits us.
Yeah, so from that
there's
answer,
no limitation.
There's no limitation. So any woman who is available, and that's okay. I just don't want to blame the men alone, right? What about the women? I have a problem with that too. If you're a woman, the man, you know a man's history, he has kids by many women, and you still want to be a number in his life. That woman too is a problem, right?
But like you rightly said, trying to break this generational, we wouldn't call it curse, but I would say generational lifestyle. Because at this point, it's a lifestyle. It's something they've come to embrace, and
it's decadence.
It's decadence, but it's the norm now. Like the decadence of the past has accumulated, and the present decadence is like thousands of folds of what was happening in the past. And unfortunately, in the present time now, it's a norm. It's normal.
It is.
It's like, oh
yeah, it's turning abnormality to being normal.
Correct. That's the society we live in.
But moralistically, even though we're saying it's becoming a norm,
we'll go into that one later on. Morality is subjective. Just so you know, it is
okay.
It's subjective.
But if we're saying it's subjective, okay, but as a good human being, okay, or somebody who has common sense, okay, let me use that word, common sense. If you see what is happening around you, you should ask yourself, if you're a good person, why is this happening? Am I a contributor to these things, or am I a changer? Am I somebody who would want to change, be a change, or be a contributor to this decadence?
But how would you differentiate, or how would you know what a change is when it's a norm for you? Like I said, generational lifestyle. Your dad lived that life. He had several baby mamas. His dad before him was the same. Okay. You are pretty much now living the same. How can you differentiate when to you that was the life that was presented to you?
Good question. That's a very nice question. Well, what I would answer, my answer to that question is, if you look around, if you take a second, and even before I even say looking around you, if you look at yourself as a person, even though you see that this has been a norm from time past, are you as a person, when you dig deep, are you happy? Do you, after all that frivolities, when you're alone, when you think, do you see yourself as a happy person?
You're right, and I can add something to that. Don't people don't look at they don't look at a life from a retrospective point of view, like from a camera, a director's cut. Like when you're looking at your life from a director's perspective, because the director sees everything, he sees the flaws, the positives, just like God's view, right? An eagle's eye view. People don't look at their life that way. They look at their life from a one-player perspective, so they don't feel or understand the consequences of that lifestyle they are living. They only enjoy or gravitate in that feels, the thrills they're getting from it. Oh, several women, several kids there. I'm not obligated to one particular woman. I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
Right.
You know?
Right. But my point is, they're trying to be truthful to themselves. When they look at their life and the situation they have created, this guy might seem all happy. But if you ask me, I think that's kind of like a facial value. Because when it might not have started yet, maybe that's why it's still like bubbly and wants to have more. But I believe that as time goes on, he's going to see what he has left behind. And he would definitely see that it's a disaster. Because by the time you start having kids who are dysfunctional, like I said, you're getting calls, oh, your kid did this in school, oh, you're this, that. And you discover that you cannot be everywhere at the same time. Leaving a woman to take care of your kids, one person, you could tell that, because that person also has a life. That's why I always encourage. That's why God made it that a man and a woman should make babies. So coming together as a team, like we all know, 2 heads are better than one. So when you start having these kids, like the doctor rightly said, you are everywhere, but you cannot be everywhere. Actually, let's be realistic. So somebody calls you, oh, your child is this, because there's no father figure who is present all the time. And then you hear this and you go, you try to deal with it, and the next you're hearing, because now he's just 8, right? From what he says, it's gonna keep going, more kids. But like I said, that's where you have this adults these days that are so, I don't want to use the word, but you see so many people who are just not right in the head, and it's not their fault. Like I said, it's the background.
One thing I want to point out is, if I'm just going to pull the tape a little bit backwards, I need you to see his demeanor right here. Mm-hmm. Start watching the way it sinks in, and you can see
there. Now you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there, woke up one morning and said, "I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to
just more uncomfortable."
But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear.
Let me see. I hear you. Let me see if I can point out more of his demeanor as
time went on. She was,
as you can see right here, it sinks now.
But build a home with her.
You see, even the stance in his breathing, you see, like,
that's completely unfair.
He's getting a dose of reality from a woman.
Right, and I think, like I said, this whole thing is face value. It's like somebody who is a stranger telling you what it is you're facing. He doesn't want to admit it, but like she rightly said, because he's selfish, these things that she's pointing out, it's there. Because she's pointing it out, he knows, and then that's why you're seeing that denim, like he's, not comfortable anymore. But my point is, like she rightly said, the selfishness in him would not make him want to change or have a rethink before she said this anyway, but by living that life. It has always been the case. So it's just like stranger giving that, point that he knows is there. So it's just like a reminder, like, oh, okay, she got me on that one. Like you rightly said, that's why you see that then, But unfortunately, the greed of man, the selfishness, like she said, it's all about you. Forgetting that you're raising people, you're bringing people to the world who will become adults at some point. And what do you expect of those kids when they grow up?
Guys, you've heard from Felicia. Felicia is my wife, and she has a very broad perspective and knowledge on when it comes to marriage and just living it right. I even myself, I respect her so much. She passes a lot of knowledge to me. Don't we
I'm not a
argue?
doctor though, but hey, you know.
Yeah, don't we argue in some areas? But overall, she is like top notch. I respect her for that.
No,
Just to
appreciate
bring
that.
just to bring the conclusion to this episode.
Great.
To be honest with you, the deficit, guys, and this is for the guys out there, man to man, you do not need a lifestyle like that. I'm not saying for those of you who are into it already is the end of the world. No. But you need to understand what you've gotten yourself into. First of all, for those who haven't gotten themselves into this at all, you're single, you're thinking about having kids, or you don't want to be married to, or have a partnership with anybody, that's fine. But you need to understand this is very stable for the parent to be together and then have a kid, and then have kids or have a kid. That child deserves every bit of your attention.
Mm-hmm.
You holding back your presence because we understand we work in America. America is a workaholic country. You have to work to pay bills, right? But that's understandable. But to add the selfish part of you wanting other kids out there with different women, and then because of that, there's a deficit in the lives of your kids. There's a deficit of your presence. Why? Because you cannot be everywhere at the same time. Mm-hmm. I would advise kids do not need that, especially in this present time we are in right now. Your children need you the most. Mm. There's nobody who's going to love your kids more than you.
Amen.
So you got to be there, and that means it would be better if you do everything in your power to ensure that you are in the lives of your kids, and your kids get the benefit of having both parents together. Now, that's not to say go through abuse, physical abuse, emotional, all of that, just to be in a marriage. No, that's not what we're saying. But if your goal is to raise a good family and let your children enjoy their parents, please have a partner. Make sure you and your partners take it together and ride through the sunset. And lastly, selfishness. Guys, we gotta get control of what, you guys know what I'm saying. Don't let that stuff control you. It's hard, it's difficult, I get it. But at the end of the day, the consequences of that selfishness is what we saw here. 8 kids from 3 different baby mamas, sorry. Cam Newton, respects, but that's not the life. Peace out, that's my point. Alicia, you got any final words?
No, you said it all. I mean, that's it. Yeah, just
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, subscribe to our channel. Feel free to comment, and you can reach back to us if you have any questions or any topics you would like us to cover. Again, this is the Gentleman's Cave podcast, and watch out for